Hey LAN party gamers! Today I'm going to be showing you a new augmented reality laser challenge style game for, well, real life. This is an FPS that you do have to get out of your seat to play. It's called Recoil, and their slogan is "The world is now a game." And they're really taking the FPS feel from computer games and bringing that into real life. Now this is way different than Lasertag or Laser Challenge that came out in the 90s that I know I played the heck out of when I was a kid. This has a mount for your phone and an accompanying app. And with that app, it actually Bluetooth tethers to the weapon that you're using and gives you things like how many rounds are left in a magazine, how many rounds total do you have as far as your magazine counter, and how many bullets are left at all in your entire device. It tells you exactly where weapon pickups are and how much life you have left, whether or not you hit a target, and if somebody frags you, who did it and with what weapon. We're going to be going through a little bit of what Recoil can do as far as how far you can shoot, the different type of weapons available, and exactly what comes in the starter pack as well as the accessories. So let's take a look and dive in to the world of Recoil. So to dive into the world of Recoil, what you need to start out with is, of course, the starter pack. And what that's going to come with is a couple of the pistols, as well as the hub. And the hub is a Wi-Fi device that you link your phone to that controls the game itself. So what you're going to need to know to get started is you need a pair of scissors, a Phillips screwdriver, and 12 AA batteries. And that's just to get started, so make sure you pick that stuff up if you don't already have it when you go out to buy the starter pack. So let's go ahead and open up the starter pack and take a look at everything that's included with the packaging. So inside the box we've got the two pistols, the augmented reality tags to show you where the respawn zones are and ammo pickups, the instruction manual, the phone holders, the extra clips to let you have extra hit points, and the base station hub. So this is where the scissors come in. You'll find that each piece is securely fastened to the box with these strong ties. So we're going to go ahead and set apart the paper documents. Now these are the augmented reality tags, and basically what that is it helps you identify where different spots on the map are. You've got ammo pickups, you've got supply drops, and you've got respawn zones and of different types of pickups as well. We're going to go into different types of pickups later on. We also have the instruction manual, what tells you exactly how to set up your device and where to put the batteries inside the guns. So we'll put that aside as well. Now we can go ahead and cut out the guns and everything else inside here. This reminds me of getting toys as a kid, and this actually has some pretty good weight to it. Here's the first pistol. It's definitely made for full-sized hands, and I'm happy to see that. It's got pretty cool design to it, and you can already get a feel that this is a pretty quality product. So we're going to just go ahead and open it all up, and we'll get you some close-ups here at that time. Okay, now that we've got all the pieces out of the box, we have to assemble our parts as well as put all the batteries inside them. Now each part of the starter kit takes 4 batteries, which is why we need 12 total. The guns, you have to remove this top rail in order to get to the battery compartment. So we're going to take our Phillips screwdriver and go ahead and do that now. I use an electric one just to save on my wrist, as we've got quite a few of these to do. So the front rail comes off, and you can see the compartment for the 4 AA batteries. And they go in. The flat part of your battery goes towards the spring, meaning that they alternate every other battery. And once you have all 4 batteries in, you simply replace the top rail, front first, then the rear, and then you put the screw back in. And if it's working, the light on the back should turn green. In order to turn the gun off after testing, hold the button down for 3 to 5 seconds and depress it. The battery compartment on the hotspot can be done the same way by removing the battery door on the bottom with the Phillips head screwdriver and putting the 4 batteries in at the bottom and replacing the battery door. Okay, so now that we have the starter pack all set up, we should be able to just jump into a game. Well, not quite just yet. What we have to do is download the Recoil app from your app store. Whether it be iOS or Google Play, you should be able to find it by doing a search for Recoil. Now, if you don't find it right away, it could be because your phone is too old to run the app. Although it's not a very intensive phone app, like some games might be, it is restricted to certain devices that they're sure to work with. So if that's the case, try it on another device and see if it doesn't show up for you. So let's go ahead and install that now. And now that we have that open, we can go ahead and pair it with the device. And what that means is when we launch Recoil, it's not going to work out of the box. What we have to do is actually turn on the Wi-Fi hotspot here. So I'm going to lift the antenna and I'm going to press the on button. And what I'm going to also do on my device is find that Wi-Fi hotspot in my settings. As the device turns on, it's going to boot up and it's going to show you a blinking green light here on the top. That just lets you know that the system's still booting and it's not quite ready yet to be connected to. I found the network as Recoil and I'm connecting to it now. You probably will get a message saying that internet access may not be available. That's because this isn't a normal hotspot. It doesn't actually have internet connectivity. It's simply for the game. So keep that in mind, that you might not get messages and you might not get any internet while you're playing, but you can always disconnect from it if you want to check your emails and that type of thing. So now that we're connected to the Recoil hotspot, we can go ahead and launch the app that we were downloading previously. And once it opens, you're going to see the main Recoil window, and you want to connect to a weapon, which is shown at the top of the screen. In order to connect to a weapon, what you have to do is follow the on-screen prompts. It's going to tell you to push the power button next to the weapon that you're using, and it will do a Bluetooth connection straight with the weapon that we're using. It'll search for a while and then it'll connect, and then it will have us pull the trigger to continue. Once the weapon's connected, we can start a game. Now you will need a second device, cell phone or otherwise, in order to connect to the second Recoil weapon before you can actually get into a game. But at least now we know the phone is paired with both the hotspot and the gun. Now all we have to do is mount the phone to the side of the gun so we can get started. To mount the phone to the side of the gun, we take our phone mount and we decide whether we want it on the left or the right of the weapon. I prefer it on the left because I'm a righty, so it's basically directly in front of me as I aim. So when you're looking at the side of the gun, you'll see it's notched specifically for this, and if you look on the inside where it connects, you'll see a female version of that same notch. You line those up, wiggle them a little bit, and you'll feel it fall right into place with the jaws facing the user. We go ahead and take that same Phillips screwdriver we had before and go ahead and tighten it down, remembering not to over tighten. We do want it fairly tight though, because this is going to be holding your phone, and I imagine, like most, it's a pretty expensive device to break or drop. So I leave mine in the case. I would suggest doing the same thing. In order to get the phone size to match, we're just unwinding the knob on the side of the gun. And as that unwinds, the grip gets bigger and bigger, allowing the phone to fit right in. It has this very nice rubber pad. Does not feel like it's going to fall out, especially when we rotate it the other way. Once the phone's in there, the phone isn't going to go anywhere. Very stable. And you can tell that the phone is paired because in the menu, if you pull the trigger, your screen flashes telling me that we're ready to rock and roll. Okay, we got the gun paired, we've got the hotspot active, and we're connected to it. once we find a suitable adversary, we can do a duel. Now, obviously, you want to probably have more than just you and one other fighting it out over the battlefield of your backyard. So, of course, they sell the guns separately. You get the starter kit first because you need the hotspot, but you can get guns like the pistol here, as well as a few other accessories which we'll go over. There's also a couple differences that I'd like to point out from this than your classic laser tag or laser challenge. You may notice there's no vest included in this, and that's because the guns themselves are the targets. Now you have your emitter on the front, but you also have separate receivers on the front and sides that make it to where if you're aiming at somebody, you can be hit just as easily. But there's an added receiver on the back side that we showed you earlier. Now when I talked about hit points, I didn't mean it allowed you to have more health. I mean this is literally a point in which you can be shot at. So this typically will unwind and you clip it to the back of your shirt or pants, and if you're trying to sneak away, somebody can tag you in the rear. So now that we've shown you the starter sets, let's go ahead and show you some of the accessories that you can buy separately. You can obviously buy the guns all by themselves, but this is probably something that most people will find attractive. This is the rifle. It comes with the same phone mount that you'd find on the handguns, and they are indeed compatible with each other if for some reason you break one. It does feature a much longer design. It's got a lot more weight to it, but the main attraction for this is its range. Just like our actual rifle, this thing can shoot way farther than the pistols do. And in our preliminary testing of the devices, we found that the pistols top off at about 30 yards, and the rifle was able to reach out just past 100 yards. So after an entire football field in the daylight, I was still able to hit people with this, and that's this rifle shooting these guns. Now bear in mind, that's not a limitation of the hardware or the software. That's actually a nerf that they put into the system to make the rifle more appealing to purchase. So if you go ahead and shell out for the rifle, you're going to be given a longer range and even a little bit higher ammo capacity. I believe these hold 30 or so rounds per mag, and this holds 40 rounds per magazine before you have to tap the reload button at the bottom. There is also, if you're playing with other people, a push-to-talk option. If you're sporting headphones or if you have a good microphone on your device, you can push the push-to-talk option, which is either in the back of the pistol or on the side of the rifle, which will allow you to speak to your teams or even talk to your enemies in a free-for-all match. There's a couple levels of detail that you might not notice at first glance about these guns. The first off is the excellent iron sights. And that's not usually something I talk about on a toy gun, but in this case, I make an exception. Like some real-world iron sights on the gun, the light that comes into them projects out the back, so that even on the brightest day, you're still able to acquire a target down the sights. Pretty cool that they put that little bit of detail into these guns. Now, last but certainly not least, we have the Frag Grenade. Now this grenade shoots out points of light that can attack anybody who's within about a 5-meter distance from it. You hit the button and approximately 10 seconds after that, you want to get away from this because that's when it's going to go off. Now you're supposed to be able to pair this with your gun right before you throw it, and you have to do this anytime you're ready to throw it because it resets after each toss. Now you don't want to chuck this like a football because it can be fairly easily damaged. In fact, the one that we received, I had to do some pretty major repairs to get it to turn on. But if you keep this at a moderate toss or even a roll, you should be getting a lot of life out of this device. It does have a belt clip on the back, and it can be used by either team, and it can be reused within a match. If you do not pair it with your device, it will still give damage to the person in its vicinity when it goes off. But if it gets a kill, that kill will not be given points to any particular person. It will just be a generic kill. And in the spirit of YouTube and home video, they've even included a place to mount your GoPro or action camera right on the front. It has the rails that have the holes, so you can use your GoPro or similar adapter and put it right onto the gun. And it just screws right on with just a little bit of force, and it fits right in there. And it's actually a nice tight fit. You can angle it any way you want so that you can have it pointing right down the bottom of the barrel. Now, if you haven't seen it yet, we actually got a chance to demo these exact types of weapons at San Diego Comic-Con, and you can see our playthrough of Recoil on our channel on that video up here. A couple of gripes that we've already gotten with the system, as well as some feedback online that we've read, is one, that the grenade is a little more fragile than we would have liked to seen. I did have to replace some of the screws, as well as I mentioned, resolder some of the inside components. Now that could have just been because this was a used grenade that we received from another demo unit, and it could be that it just had more wear and tear than your normal house kit would have had. But who knows, maybe they were even trying to take it apart. Hard to tell. Another thing is my phone, the Galaxy S7 Edge, couldn't open the app until I restarted or even connected to the hotspot first and then open the app. So sometimes I would just get a black screen. However, if I connected to the hotspot first, then open the app, it seemed to work a little bit better. Keep in mind that you will want to bring a spare battery pack for your phone if you're out and not playing at home, as the app really does drain your battery quite a lot. Be careful when you're in battery save mode, because you might lose connection with either the hotspot or the Bluetooth within the gun itself. So you might not be playing. Your phone might run out of batteries before the hotspots or the guns do. We haven't had any battery issues with them. In fact, they seem to be pretty good as far as how long they last on AA batteries. Speaking of batteries, the grenade uses a single AAA battery because of its size. So that one thing else you would have to purchase if you're getting these devices. The reason why they're called Recoil, and I wanted to say this for last, is that every time you pull the trigger while in a match, you'll feel the gun reciprocate with every bullet fired. So you get this really good sense that your gun is firing every time you pull the trigger, and if you don't feel it, it means you're out of ammo. Now, as you go through the game, I'd like to talk a little bit about what you're going to see on your phone. When you're going from point to point and objective to objective and shooting the other members of the other teams, you'll see different indications on your phone. First off, you'll see how much ammo you have currently and in reserve. And every time that you're out of ammo currently, you hit the reload button on the bottom of your grip and it pulls from your reserve. Now, if you're out of ammo entirely, you'll find ammo stores hidden around the map or in specific places if they're pre-set up. You simply walk over to one of those predefined areas on your map, on your phone, and your gun automatically reloads its reserve. You then hit that reload button and you're back in the action. The GPS is used as well, not just for ammo, but as regen as well. So if you get knocked out of a match, fear not, you're able to run back over to your respawn zone and voila, you're back in like magic. The same can be said for pickups. You can find pickups for things like airstrikes, armor and weapon upgrades, as well as chemical strikes. Now, an airstrike is found on the map, and once picked up, it goes into your item inventory. You can have up to 3 items in your inventory at once. They are used by clicking on the item within the inventory. Let's say it's an airstrike. You click on the person who you want to bombard with your airstrike, and it will land on the map where that user is at the time you press the button. Now, they have a limited time, about 5 seconds, to get away from the large-scale attack like the airstrike and the chemical bombardment. And any other player within that zone can also be affected by that single bombardment. So if you have a group of enemy players all huddling around the same piece of cover, you can go ahead and hit that button and potentially knock out an entire team and score yourself the win. Now, a chemical bombardment is a little bit different. And what that'll do is that'll actually still give you an area of effect, but it'll be a slow tick of damage if you go through the cloud. So you want to make sure and stay away from any clouds of chemical trails that appear on your mini-map at any given time. Again, this will land at any point that you mark as a player as you clicked it. If that player moves, the point stays there. Now lastly, we have the landmine. Now landmines are picked up just like any other, and within the game you can stand in a spot, hit the landmine button, it will deploy out of your inventory and be on that part of the map. But the trick is, no one else will see it there. If they walk over to a landmine, they'll instantly take a large chunk of damage and possibly even die from it, depending on how much health they had. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed Recoil. I know we had a lot of fun playing with it, and if you continue to come out to any of our events that we're at, we're going to make sure and bring these to as many as we can so we can get some 3-on-3 action going with these weapons. Just make sure you pre-download the app and that it works on your phone before you try it out. And that way you won't waste any time or money not having a correct device to use with these. So that's pretty much my only gripe. I know that we tried to use the app on a Note 2, which is a few generations older phone, and it wouldn't download on that. So make sure the app works. And what's funny enough, if your friends are all playing the game, you haven't bought it yet, you can download the app and just be someone who runs around and collects the pickups. You can play this game without even having the gun. All you need is the base station and a few friends to play with. Anyway, thanks for watching. For more content and reviews, unboxings, and the like, make sure you hit that subscribe button at the bottom. And to find out where we're going to be coming up soon, visit our website at sandiegoland.net. Thanks for watching. Bye.